What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back again with another live stream for you guys. Spurs taking on Wolves this weekend in a bid to continue their impressive form in the Premier League and stay near the top of the table. Obviously, Wolves looking to we'll get their first point in the season, and hopefully Dr. Tottenham is out of service. Maybe hopefully they can't get an appointment. Maybe they're on NHS. Hopefully it's busy for weeks. I'm hoping so anyway. But big game. I'm here with Brian Daigle in the studio, as everyone is so excited to point out. How are we doing, Brian? How are we doing today?
I'm doing magnificent, buddy. It's a wonderful time to be a Spurs fan. It's a Friday. Spurs play tomorrow. Loads of news going on, and I'm just so excited for the future. So delighted to have this conversation we're about to have.
Absolutely. The new Takeover talks in the offering at the moment. No one better to be in the studio and to be excited about a potential new takeover than Mr. Brian Daigle, the head or the daddy of the Levy out movement here in the flesh. And we're going to be talking about Daniel Levy. His name hasn't exited our world just yet. We're still being talked about in positive ways nowadays. But we have a Tottenham update for you because there's big news about potential new owners at Tottenham. The Sun yesterday, Martin Lipton broke that Tottenham are subject to a world record takeover bid by a former DJ called Brooklyn Earick, who is leading a consortium in the USA to take over Tottenham. Apparently, they are looking to bid £4.5 billion, which would be a world record fee to take Spurs over. Apparently, there is a blueprint for Tottenham 3.0, and they are looking for a massive takeover bid for a USA-led consortium. Now, apparently, reportedly, Martin Lipton is saying 1.2 billion transfer pot for Thomas Frank, which is probably one of the biggest transfer pots the world has ever seen, if that's for one window anyway. Virtually no issues with PSR obstructing any sort of spend. That is what Martin Lipton is reporting yesterday, a massive bid. Now, this Brooklyn Earick has been posting some very cryptic things on social media. He's posted an image of him at the stadium with a image of a countdown. This was him posting, I think, on Instagram maybe, or I don't know where he posted this, maybe Instagram, on his story. A picture inside the Spurs dressing room with a countdown, 27 days, 9 hours and 22 minutes. So what is that counting down to? I don't really know. Maybe it's, take of that what you will. Yep. He also posted a tweet saying, pretty low-key morning so far, with a picture of a newspaper article with basically him, his name, £4.5 billion bid from the Sun Sports. So he has been not doing anything to quieten down these rumours, has he? There's also been a some sort of document doing the rounds, the takeover panel disclosure table, showing the offeree Tottenham Hotspur the offer for Tottenham Hotspur Limited, offer period commencing from the 7th of September. So this seems some sort of document that seems to be doing the rounds. A consortium led by Mr. Brooklyn Earick, and they have till the 24th of October. So maybe that's the deadline.
Maybe that works out the dates, yeah.
So that's the countdown that he's counting down to. Disclosure of dealings and positions in the offerer is not required, it says at the bottom, whatever that means. Now, this has obviously put Tottenham social media into a frenzy, Brian. And everyone's going crazy. Oh my God, are we about to be taken over? Is Frank going to be given the biggest war chest seen to man by this consortium led by a former DJ who's a tech tycoon, apparently in the USA? He's obviously doing nothing to dampen these rumours with some of his social media activity. But Spurs have officially rejected an informal expression of interest from Brooklyn Earick Consortium regarding a takeover. The statement reads, the board of the club and Earick reconfirm that Tottenham Hotspur is not for sale and Earick is not looking to sell its stake in the club. Sources close to the Lewis family also say This unsolicited and unnecessary interest does nothing to change the family's resolve and commitment to do whatever it takes to drive success on the pitch. Brian,
Yes.
what do you feel about this potential takeover news? The response from the Lewis family? Is this posturing to try and get a higher price from them? Is this genuine takeover bid, or is this Brooklyn Earick looking for a bit of attention? What do you make of all this news?
Right, so let's start with the Lewis family and Spurs and their statement they've come out with. Obviously, when I was protesting with many others, whether it be the protest group that I was proudly part of, or Change for Tottenham, whoever it may be, or however people around the world were protesting, I was always Levy out, Earick out, because I always thought when this day comes, it will be a package deal that they're both out at the same time. It will be a group out. Now Daniel Levy has left the club, and hearing what Earick have been saying, I personally have said, right, I am prepared to give Earick 2 windows to see if their actions speak louder than words. Lots of people will say, we've had them for 25 years, why is it now different? The way I look at it, it's now going to be reportedly Vivian and Charlie, not Joe Lewis. It's also going to be Vinay, who wasn't there before, and there isn't no Donna Cullen or micromanaging Daniel Levy. So I am prepared to see what Earick can do. I'm not going to focus too much on Earick out right now, because I want to see what happens. Them coming out and saying, right, we're not interested, whether that's a sign of, listen, we are really going to push for this, or they're flirting for more money, time will tell. Now, when it comes to this takeover bid, first of all, I think this is I got every single time a takeover bid came in, I took the bait and believed it. I was like, yes, this is the moment. And then obviously it was about a weeks of talks, and then it just went dead, didn't it? Then a few months later, around the transfer window, it would start again. It kept going. So the way I'm looking at it with these takeover bids at the moment is, I'm not going to read into it or buy into anything right now until it's a lot further down the line, when they say, right, talks are seriously ongoing. They're looking at the books, and when it has to go to the Premier League to see if they pass the what's the thing they've got to pass to show that they're
fit and proper person.
That's the. Then I'll start being, all right, there's some legitimacy behind it. So this to me is just like another transfer saga. When we hear it from all kinds of different reports, from newspapers, from journalists, ITKs. So at the moment, I'm fully enjoying this moment where I can fully focus on loving my football club and enjoying what's going on the pitch with Thomas Frank and the lads. What I will say with this bid, though, I think this is the first one where the actual person involved has gone to his social media and been heavily promoting or putting pressure on or using his social media to say, yeah, this is genuine, so it's interesting. It is very interesting. Listen, 1.2 billion as a transfer kitty.
Right. I mean, isn't that the kind of figure you put out? Obviously, it's a figure to show, like, we're ambitious, we're willing to give him 1.2 billion, but it also kind of tells me, like, do you know what you're saying? Because you can't just give a manager 1.2 billion in one window. You can't really even spend it with PSR. I mean, unless you do what kind of Chelsea do, which is, what they were doing was giving players all these long contracts and finding loopholes. Maybe that's kind of the aim. But, I mean, for me, that's kind of a very fanciful figure to aim to spend in one window, 1.2 billion. I mean, how do you even begin to spend that kind of money? 1.2 billion in a window. I mean, that's a bit crazy to suggest that. That's
kind of the stuff you'd hear when Abramovich first came in, wouldn't you? When there was no guidelines and you could spend as much as you want, you could keep spending. And that 1.2 million is obviously, they said, for player wages as well, due to the FFP and due to PSR and the Europe one. We won't be able to spend that in one window. Yes, it sounds like a mouth-watering number, but if Earick do put money in, if Earick put money in, obviously I highly doubt it's going to be to that valuation, but we don't need 1.2 billion. If Earick were to put, let's say, 3, 4, 5, even lower, and able to get the players we need because of the success of the window we've just had, it doesn't need 1.2 billion. Obviously, it is a dream number to hear. To hear Spurs,
course, but like, it's a kind of figure which makes me think these guys aren't serious, because it's the kind of figure you put out which is completely unrealistic. Like, do they know what they're doing, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, do they know what they're saying? Like, you were suggesting you were going to give the manager a £1.2 billion transfer budget. Kind of tells me these guys aren't serious in a way. Like, that's not a realistic figure.
Well,
for a transfer budget.
you look at it as well, they have said for player wages as well, hasn't it? So that will mean we can bring players in on very, very lucrative contracts. So it is a wild number, and as soon as you hear 1.2 billion in transfer revenue, you're rubbing your hands going, oh, here we go. It's like you're playing Championship Manager at home, isn't it? And you've just got unlimited
I've never
funds.
spent 1.2 billion in a window.
No, I don't think they'd do it in one window. I mean, it is a mouth-watering number. And do you know what? Like we said, I think this one does have legs. This isn't just another rumour that's coming out. It is spreading like wildfire. And if it gets further down the line, then I'll read more into it and start getting excited. But right now, as the club stands, as I've said, it's a magical time for me and Spurs fans to say there is a new dawn at Tottenham Hotspur. There is a new level of excitement to see what the future holds. We've seen how we've got off to this start of the season. We've seen how Thomas Frank and his coaching staff have done. Vivian, Charlie, Earick, Vinay can't do anything till January window, can they? So there's a lot of people that are obviously doubting Earick, and I understand that completely, totally and utterly. But we'll see what happens January. Obviously, talk of Kane is going rife. If they were to bring Harry Kane home and pay him the wages, is that not a huge sign of intent of what Earick have set out or planned for Tottenham Hotspur?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if there's any truth to the Harry Kane thing. But that could be an amazing start, wouldn't it? If we can bring Harry Kane back to the club, which is a lot of talk about at the moment. For me, when it comes to this bid, the only thing I'll caution is this guy, the way he is using social media, he seems to like the attention. A lot of people, there's been a few suggestions. It's just been a bid to get his name out in the news to raise his profile. Apparently, he also recently had a failed takeover bid of an F1 team as well, which obviously got his name in the headlines. Is this guy just looking for attention, or is he actually serious about getting a consortium to take over Tottenham Hotspur and putting the money on the table? And if $4.5 billion isn't enough to get the Lewis family to come to the table, because at the moment they've unequivocally rejected it, what kind of figure would be enough?
Well, first of all, like you said, I think the way I'm going to look at it as well is they've put that countdown, haven't they, which we just worked out is the date till they've got to do something. Let's see what happens in those 27 days and see if this gets further legs and they actually do register an official bid. When it comes to the Lewis family and what will it take, one thing I will say is if they do reject this out of hand, then they are going to have to show big ambition. Maybe not so much January because it may be awkward, but at least bring one player in that is of high quality, and then they're going to have to attack the summer market as if this is why we turned down this figure. This is what our intent is, because if they don't, then there's going to be trouble again. Then I will be annoyed because it's been 2 windows. Like I said, I'll give them. I don't know. I mean, it's an extortionate amount of money either way you look at it, isn't it? If they're going to pay, if they're going to buy the club out. But I've said this before, even when we spoke when Levy went out, I genuinely believe Vivian Lewis really, it's rumoured before that she really wants to get the trophies on the pitch and the success on the pitch, and I firmly believe she does want that. And if they can do that, then I'm going to be totally fine with Earick, in all honesty.
Back on the prospective owners, new owners. Also, there is a case of be careful what you wish for. Just looking at the example of Chelsea, and they have a similar kind of setup. Obviously, US investors took over for about $4 billion, which is a world record at the time. And they seem to have kind of more money than sense at the moment at Chelsea. And they seem to have a lot of people making a lot of different decisions, going a lot of different directions. And at the moment, I'm looking, I know they've, had a decent year last season, 4th and the Club World Cup, but, I don't know, they seem to be a bit aimless at the moment. And I don't know if their project is going in the right direction. And you know, they had to go through a few difficult years, finishing 12th, finishing mid-table, because these guys didn't know what they're doing and they're not listening to the right voices. And there's way too many voices in the boardroom as well. So if we're getting brought up by another consortium in a similar thing, obviously we got to learn those lessons that, you know, that have been affecting Chelsea, and hopefully we employ the right people to make the right decisions if that kind of takeover happens.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But also, what I will say, compared to Chelsea and us, is we all know that at Tottenham Hotspur now, because of the stadium, because of the trade, everything infrastructure-wise is taken care of. There is no need, like Chelsea still going through their drama trying to get the stadium. There's so much going on behind the scenes at Chelsea that needs to be addressed outside of the football club. Like
we're like a sure thing.
Yeah, exactly. With all the events, the infrastructure, the quality stadium. Listen, I've always given credit to Levy and Earick for the stadium and the training ground. It's been like, right now you've got that, build on it on the pitch, where a lot of teams in the Premier League are trying to do, let's get the stadiums. So that part's done. So I think on that note, we are a lot different to Chelsea. But I get what you're saying, that Chelsea are doing the same thing. But I think with everything taken care of off the pitch, anyone who comes in, whether it's this guy, whether it's another takeover consortium or Earick, they haven't got to worry about that.
Absolutely. Well, very interesting news. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the potential new takeover at Spurs and Brooklyn Earick. Is he seriously interested in Tottenham? What do we really think? Next story we're going to be talking about is Daniel Levy and his exit from Tottenham Hotspur. And according to The Athletic, despite still having a stake in Tottenham, Daniel Levy has been barred from Hotspur Way since his departure from the club. The club returned any of his belongings still at the training ground via a van, and also his wife as well, who has been working at Tottenham since the day Daniel Levy left as well, not allowed back at Hotspur Way. Obviously, this is very similar treatment to what happened at the end of Pochettino's era at Spurs. When he was here for 5 years, he wasn't allowed back at the training ground, even say goodbye to the players. Harry Kane, once he left for Bayern Munich, wasn't allowed back in the training ground. And now the same fate has fallen on Daniel Levy when he's left. What are your thoughts on that, Brian?
You can try to tell by the smile on my face. First of all, karma is a bitch. And in the words of Peggy Mitchell, Daniel Levy, get out of my club. Has to be said. Mate, do you know what? Football is a wonderful thing. And do you know what I was saying to Sammy in the back end before? I dreamt of this day where Levy wasn't involved in the football club, and I have feelings of how good it would feel. I wildly underestimated how good it will feel, because do you know what I said? Karma is an absolute bitch, and he's done this. And remember Martin Yole, the way he's been pushed. Karma's a bitch. Daniel Levy is getting a taste of his own medicine, and fair play to Tottenham. I said I want to see Earick. Actions louder than words, and this is just it's wonderful for me to hear. It's wonderful. Well, why should he be at the club? I know he's got a stake in it, but right now he's been taken off the off Company's House, hasn't he? He officially has absolutely nothing to do with Tottenham Hotspur officially, apart from his stake. Why should he come in and start meddling and have a say what's going on in the training ground and whatever? Good riddance. Good riddance. Like I said, I wish Daniel Levy all the best in everything he does. Him and his family, I wish them enormous success and health in everything they do. But I want this man not to have anything to do associated with this football club. And now he doesn't. Absolutely.
And the Athletic also reporting the new look Tottenham board is set to meet for the first time today since Daniel Levy's departure. And Vinay Venkatesham is assembling a new executive leadership team at Tottenham, which will consist of himself, Matthew Collicott, and what will eventually be 6 other senior figures, including the newly appointed Chief Marketing and Chief Communications Officers. This is set to be the club's new model, designed to have power less centralised at the top, which was obviously a lot of the power was going through Daniel Levy before this. So looking to delegate a lot more, having a lot more people kind of in charge of different areas, which is really great. And obviously they're making, look, all these moves suggest they're not looking to leave anytime soon, isn't it?
Well, the great thing about this is like you said, we all know Daniel Levy was front and centre, ruled with an iron fist, and his decision was his decision. No matter what directors of football had told him, football guys had told him. It was his decision and his decision alone. It is so refreshing to see that they're going to let people that specialise in certain areas have a voice and lead the way in that department of the football club. It is wonderful to see. Like I said, I have never been so excited as a Spurs fan for what's going on at the top, what's going on the pitch. It's refreshing to see that things are changing, and this is what we've wanted to see, isn't it? And it's going to be interesting. Do you reckon have they mentioned Vivian and Charlie on that? On that
in the board,
yeah,
in the executive leadership team, no.
Okay, well maybe all the names haven't come out, but like I said, I am just so excited to see what this new dawn holds for Spurs. And right now, Earick have got, like I said, this season in the summer window. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to deliver. And if they deliver on what they've said, we are going to be all delighted as Spurs fans.
Absolutely. And look, if they're genuine in their intentions, then that's all we can ask for.
Exactly.
And that's all we want. And we want Spurs to be more competitive near the top of the table. And at the moment, you know, they seem to be being genuine. You know, they're rejecting all the offers. They're saying Tottenham aren't for sale. They've stuck by that. We'll see. We'll see what happens down the line. Obviously, time will tell. But this is not going to be... This is the whole future of the club that we're talking about. So it isn't going to be resolved within a few weeks.
Exactly.
This is years, probably, you know, that we're going to be probably talking about this and how this all looks and the new look Spurs and how that all kind of changes over time. Daniel Levy has obviously had so much control and so much influence. This isn't going to be an overnight change.
Yep.
This is going to be something that gradually happens, and that you know, obviously we'll see things happen in the near future, but this is a very long-term kind of thing. So let's see how it all plays out. But it's all very interesting how so much has changed over the summer. Levy's gone. There's a new board in place. All these different things being implemented. We'll see what happens. All these takeover kind of talks and whatnot. But all very exciting, all very interesting at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment.
100%. I will say, like you said, even if it's not this takeover or it is this takeover that goes through, this isn't going to be done like a transfer. This will take months to finally go through. There's so much process that they have to go through, so much legal stuff. But like I said, right now, I am just so excited as a Spurs fan. I am loving life at the moment. I can't wait till game day. I can't wait to hear from Frank. Spurs social media have upped their game beyond levels. The whole club seem to be pulling in the same direction. And it's just, like I said, it's a very, very exciting time to be a Spurs fan right now.
Absolutely. Talking about a bit of transfer news now, and we're going to talk about Savinho. According to Fabrizio Romano, Savinho is set to sign a new long-term contract with Man City, and any chance of Tottenham reviving their interest for the Brazilian would appear to be gone now. So it seems as though with Savinho staying at Man City this summer, the opportunity for Tottenham to get him now looks like is going to be dissipated with him signing that new contract. Interestingly enough, though, he hasn't really started too many games this season. Obviously, played in midweek, scored against Huddersfield in the Cup. Pep Guardiola has been talking about massively in the press, and now he looks to sign a new contract. So, for you, is that, you know, obviously it hasn't been done yet, but if that gets signed, is that your hope of Savinho coming all but gone?
Yeah, if you sign a new long-term contract, it's either going to make it even more expensive to get him out, and it will be an opportunity missed by Spurs, because I do believe that was Thomas Frank's numero uno target, and probably wanted to revisit the situation in January. But hopefully there is a plan B, and it's of a high. Maybe it's a Leao, maybe it is a Doma Lookman. But I still think Spurs will target a left winger in the window. I think Savinho would have been brilliant alongside Kudus. Them two down the flanks would have terrorised anyone. But what can you do? If they go and sign a contract once the window's closed, there's nothing we can do about it, is there? There is absolutely nothing.
And he's signing a contract off the back of, you know, a season last season where he started off really well, but I think he only played 20 games in the Premier League. So it's not like he played well for me. I was really impressed with him, but you know, in terms of goals and assists, his numbers could have been better. So this is a real show of support and show of kind of belief in him that even after a season where, from objectively, you can say he had some struggles, albeit I thought for a 20-year-old he was quite impressive. There's a real show of support. They're giving him a long-term deal off the back of that kind of season where it's not like he killed it and like scored 20 goals, is it?
Yep.
Like I think he scored 1 goal in the Premier League. So, you know, for a winger playing for Man City, obviously they expect more from him. If they're going to be challenging for titles, he needs to be providing more kind of output, right?
Yep.
So that goes to show they really believe in him. If after a season where his output wasn't as maybe they'd hoped, he's still getting a new long-term deal.
Well, you got to think as well. Maybe they've guaranteed him more first-team football because with it being a World Cup year, obviously his place in that squad at the moment is in jeopardy. And maybe they have promised him more first-team football, and that's what he wanted. But like I said, is it a missed opportunity from Spurs in the summer window not to get it done, or they couldn't get it over the line? I think so. I think so. But if that happens, there's nothing we can do about it. Let's just hope that Spurs or Frank has a second left winger of that quality that he wanted, and it's now down to Earick, Vinay, and whoever is going to be in charge of transfers. Lange, if he's still first team transfer director of football, then let's make sure we get Frank's number 1 or second choice left wing target in as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And next story as well comes from Ali Gold confirming that Luca Williams-Bartlett has agreed terms on his first professional contract with Tottenham, and that's not able to be sealed until until he can legally sign the deal on his 17th birthday. Obviously, that's this coming Wednesday. That's what Ali Gold's reporting. So that's really great news that Spurs looking to tie up Luca Williams-Bartlett for his first professional contract after obviously making his debut against Doncaster.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, it's what we did with Mikey Moore, wasn't it? This guy is a serious talent, and to lock him down straight away will be great for the football club, great for him. He is a real talent. I see him developing very, very quickly with how he's performing. And it's great news to see that we're locking down people of this talent, because we went through a period where people like Mundell, Marc-André Madueke, Mundell, all these players walked out because of the contract. It's good to see we're tying these people down, and they're clearly seeing now through Mikey and now Barnett, Williams-Bartlett, that there is an opportunity to get into the first team and get some minutes, and long may that continue.
Absolutely. On to some injury news that Frank has been talking about in his press conference. He confirms Pape Sarr is available for the weekend, which is obviously really good news for him after he was left out with a precaution. He also confirms that he was at fault for giving Mawani a dead leg, who will be missing for a few more days due to that injury. And on Dominic Solanke's continued absence, he remains out for this weekend. He said it's not perfect, but we're going forward in the right direction. So that's a bit of injury news for this weekend. What is going on with Solanke? Because we keep hearing he's set to come back. We saw a video of him on the grass training individually, but he still remains unavailable.
It's a concern, isn't it? It's a concern, especially as well with Mawani out with the dead leg that Sarr caused. I think Frank's put Sarr on a timeout. Said, don't you do that to our players. But yeah, with Solanke, it's a worrying trend that he is picking up these injuries, and they are being worse than first feared. Obviously, when we played Bournemouth, it came out that he'll be back after the international break. I don't think people meant the next international break. They thought that he'll be back after, but he's not available, and it's becoming an issue, isn't it? Because Richarlison isn't scoring, apart from... he scored last Saturday, my bad. But when you're relying on Richarlison to be your only fit striker...
That's the problem, yeah.
It is a big problem, and it could happen at any time. Thankfully, through Frank managing the minutes, resting them, hopefully this has been hugely beneficial. And also, do you remember when he was ready for pre-season training? He said we're giving him an extra week to make sure he's ready. But concerning about Solanke... Great to hear that Sarr's going to be back, and we move on and look forward to tomorrow's match.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's. That is all. That is your Tottenham update. Let me know in the comment section below everything we discussed today. And now we go to preview the Wolves game. We'll start with a predicted lineup for the game on Saturday. Kicking off at 8 p.m, by the way. Not sure about an 8 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. Is that a game's gone, Brian? What do you think?
Well, they had to do this, didn't they, because of Bodo?
Good point.
They had to do it because of the Bodo game.
A one-off.
So it was a one-off. But it's weird for me thinking that an 8 p.m. kickoff, so that would be 3 p.m. for me normally. So that would mean I could have a lay-in at home, spend some time with my wife before going down to the Scotland Yard. And I'm just very excited because my boycott is over and I'm going to the game tomorrow. My first game back at the Lane since Antonio Conte. And I'm very, very excited. And this game's personal to me because the last two Wolves games I've been to was the Wolves away 4-2 and the 2-0 defeat under Conte when he made subs in the first half. So I'm looking forward to this game. Very, very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's. So we're getting into the predicted lineup. Bring on the injury graphic. It's growing, isn't it? That injury, the injury list. We got Mwani obviously out for a few days. Solanke remains out as well. Ben Davis, he was out for midweek. I don't know if he remains out. He didn't really mention him. Dragoshin, he said, is a few weeks away, so that's really positive. Coach Takai is training with the team, so he's probably back quite soon. Basuma, Kulusevski, Madison remain kind of long-term absentees. So hopefully when we get a few of these players back, obviously the squad's going to look even stronger, and Frank's going to have some really tough decisions to make, isn't he? With regards to who he leaves out on match day squads and who he leaves in. But yeah, that's the current injury update going into the weekend.
I will say, Sim, very quickly with this. This shows how vital it is that Frank's rotating. Shows resting Kudus, a Van der Ven, a Romero, a Pape Sarr at West Ham. It is vital because if this list is growing, then there are players that are rested and ready to come in, and we are not missing major. I mean, the first team majors that we're missing, we've had out from the start of the season anyway, haven't we? Like your Kulusevskis, your Madisons, your Solankis, they've not been available. But thankfully, through rotation and game management, the important players that can have a huge impact in this team are available.
Absolutely. All right, so are we going for a back four this week, Brian?
Do you know what? I'm not going to say it this week. I firmly believe it will be a back four. My back five hope or thinking out the window for this game, it will be a back four.
Although Wolves deploy back five, so could he, if there's one game maybe, is he looking to match up the opposition and go back three? Could it be this game maybe?
You know what it is? I've said it every week and he hasn't done it. And the one game I'm like, nah, he's not going to do it. He'll do it. So who knows what he's going to do? But this is the beauty of Frank. You just don't know what he's going to do. And if we don't know, God knows what the opposition are thinking.
Absolutely right. Okay, in goal. Are we going for Vicario to come back into the team? Kinski did have a good game in midweek.
100% the return of Vicario. 100%.
Yeah, he's our number one. So Vicario's back in goal. All right, back line. Porro hasn't had a rest this season. Is this the game to rest him? But, we know there's a few moving parts to it because obviously Spence plays left back against Doncaster, played quite well. Doggy obviously phenomenal against Brighton. Does he retain his spot? Does he give Spencer Porro rest in place of and bring Spence in at right back? Does he just go with Porro and Doggy? Does he go with Porro and Spence? What are you feeling at fullback?
So I think, like you said, when the team for Doncaster came out, I can see Destiny starting on the left. And after his wonderful performance against Brighton, there's no qualms about that for me. I think the big discussion is, does he give Porro the rest? And does he play Spencer right back? I think that is the big thing, because with the games coming up now, we're going to Bodo, obviously, next week, as well as then away to Leeds. Porro, do you see Porro starting all three of those?
He just seems to start every game, doesn't he? Probably, yeah. I mean, I would say, he probably needs a rest, but maybe he doesn't. He's just so durable. Last season, he just played every game, even amidst that injury crisis, without a problem.
Yeah, well, his form dropped a little bit, didn't it? And there was Spence coming for a bit. Spence was left back for Destiny, wasn't he? So, I don't know. I mean, I think if we look at it, he's not going to rest Porro, is he?
Yeah, I just can't see him. Maybe against Bodo. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Wolves wingers, have they got speed merchants?
They're wingers. They've got a pacey front line, I believe, but they play with wing backs, don't they? With kind of, I think they play 3-5-2, do they? And let me see their last game.
That's what we need to see.
Not really that pace. I mean, Huang and Arias.
And who was on Poro's side?
Actually, played a back four last game. Now it's in the Carabao Cup. Like Huang Hee-chan is on Poro's side.
And he's a powerful... Put it this way, if it's Spence or Porro, I'm not fussed. Happy with either.
I think it goes Porro again, doesn't
Let's
he?
do it then.
I think it goes Porro again. Yeah, and I don't know when this guy's ever going to get a rest, but I think he starts again. Centre-backs, I think, despite Danto and Paulinho doing a great job midweek, back to the usual pairing, I would say.
Yep.
Kuti and Van de Ven.
Both rested. Both did get on the pitch. Obviously, Romero wasn't even in the squad, captained the team, and Van de Ven most certainly.
Now things get a bit interesting again. Now, I would say, considering how good they were against Brighton, does he go with kind of the midfield that finished that game against Brighton? Because we're going to be given the possession. They're going to be playing on the counter-attack. Do we want to go a bit more offensive in this one? Sar's back available as well, so he could be picked. Bergvall, though, got a bit of a rest midweek. So I think he comes back in. He's in great form as well. You've also got maybe no one really on the left's been doing it. So does he put Xavi back on the left and Bergvall on the 10? Or does he go Xavi back in the 10 with Bergvall behind like he did against Brighton? And also, who does he pick between Bentancur or Paulinho?
Well, I was just about to say, for me, the two certainties in that midfield are Paulinho and Simmons in the 10. For me. For me, I don't see Bentancur starting because I don't think against Wolves he's going to need the two kind of defensive and controlling midfielders. So for me, I don't know how you feel. I think Paulinho and Simmons are two of the three. And then it's a choice between Bergvall and Sarr.
I agree. I think it's Bergvall. Because Bergvall didn't start midweek. Sarr obviously had a bit of a niggle, so does he just put him on the bench just to be sure?
Start him for Bodo.
And maybe start Bodo, bring him on in this game.
Yeah.
So, and also Bergvall's in great form, so there's no real reason to leave him out. And I actually think tactically he's the best choice. And
also, if we look at it as well, when you go for Bergvall against Brighton didn't get up to the greatest start because he was playing the 10. And then as soon as Simmons came in and he went to the 8, it was night and day difference. So I think, Paulinho is undroppable. I know we need to find a rest for him at times, but I think he's absolutely undroppable. So,
and I think if you're going to play Simmons and Bergvall, you're going to need that real steel to combat that. And obviously Bergvall isn't a weakling, but I don't know if he offers he doesn't offer defensive duels. Maybe might be needing to just get Paulinho mopping everything up, making sure that Tottenham continue on the front foot. You got Bergvall, Simmons linking up. It's going to be. I think that's the three that against Brighton looked the best, didn't it? Yeah,
and I think with Paulinho, like you're saying, Bergvall can do defensive duties, but it's Paulinho's ability to read danger and his reading of the game and his positional awareness, and that's going to be a very key component against Wolves on Saturday.
100%. So I think that's the midfield three. I think that'll be best suited to this game. On the right, I think Kudus comes back in. Again, another player who got rest on Saturday. So that no-brainer there. Up front, Richie, I think, no problem there. He's the only fit striker. So he comes. Now, off the left, obviously a bit of a question. Johnson scored on the weekend. Odegaard got an assist and started against Brighton. You've also got Tell, who probably he's probably third choice there at the moment. I think I would go for Odegaard for me, only because when you're playing against a team like Wolves, back five, you're going to need someone who can hold possession, link the play, and create opportunities. I think Odegaard is the best fit for that, who can run at people. Whereas Johnson, I think, I don't know if he's the best fit to start this game when there's not going to be that much space to run into, and he's going to have to operate in a bit tighter space. He's going to be asked to be linking up with certain players. However, what I would say is sometimes in these kind of games where you got to sit against a low block and teams sitting to defend, you just need someone just to score a goal and get you in front by hook or by crook. Just find a moment to score. And if anyone could do that, it could be Johnson. But I think in general play, you're going to want an Odegaard.
I think he does start with Odegaard, and I still think Brennan Johnson could have a huge part to play in this game, because as we're saying at the moment, with only Richarlison as a valid striker or fit striker, could Johnson be a makeshift striker? Or if we need to grab a goal and it's a tight game, you bring him on for an impact sub, him running at full pelt and fully energised, ready to break lines and be that forward goal threat we know he is. He could have a vital part playing off of Richarlison or even taking Richarlison's place. So I still think Brennan Johnson may have a very, very big part to play in this game.
Absolutely. So Odegaard we're going for off the left-hand side. So the starting 11 we've got is Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven and Udogie, a midfield three of Bergvall, Paulini and Xavi, with Kudus, Odegaard and Richarlison up front. If that's the lineup, Brian, what scoreline are you going for?
2-0 Tottenham. 2-0 Tottenham. But if you look at that team, look at that. So Vicario rested. Udogie rested. All right, came on right at the end. Van de Ven and Romero rested. Bergvall came on at half-time. Later in the game. Kudus rested. Richarlison came... How nice is it to say, like, out of that first team, like 6 or 7 of them are going to be fit and raring to go and
Should
rested.
be fresh.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see.
Absolutely. And it's going to be, I think that's obviously that's a real benefit of how Frank has been rotating the team, adjusting to 2 games a week, which he hasn't had obviously too much experience of. So I agree. I think about a 2-0 win. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. We're going to get into the preview in a sec, but I'm going for 2-0 to Spurs and us to continue our good form and get another clean sheet over the line. So that is our predicted lineup. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on our lineup, if you agree or disagree. Now, let's get into a match preview as Spurs do take on the only team in the Premier League yet to pick up a point this season, which is Wolves. 5 games, 5 losses. They are very much struggling at the moment. It's a very weird start to the season because they've lost every game. Last game, they actually played quite well against Leeds, but 1-0 up and ended up conceding 3 goals in quick succession, and the game got taken beyond them. They played Everton in the EFL Cup in midweek and won 2-0. So maybe a bit of a kind of good feeling surrounding them. They've also beaten West Ham in the EFL Cup. But in the Premier League, they've lost 4-0 to Man City, 1-0 to Bournemouth, 3-2 to Everton at home, 1-0 to Newcastle and 3-1 to Leeds. So there have been some quite close calls in some of those games. But against City and Leeds have been on the end of hiding in those games. Do you think they're as bad as the league suggests?
No.
Like Wolves?
No, I really don't. I was very impressed with their manager when he came in and took over O'Neill. He really got them. They went through a patch, I think, when they played us and absolutely wiped the floor with us. Where I think they were 6 wins in a row, and they were flying at one point towards the end of the season. But they have lost 2 mammoth players, in Aiton Yuri and Cunha, obviously, respectively, to their clubs they went to, both Manchester clubs. Have they replaced them? Like a Bournemouth did with their players, they let big players go and they brought in quality straight away to replace them. It's looking that they haven't. I think the Wolves manager is a very good manager from what he did last season. I'm very, very surprised. I was talking in the Scotland Yard with a couple of people during the Brighton game, and they were like, Wolves are certain to go down. I was like, no, they're not. With that manager, he'll get them going again. I am very, very surprised to see them there. I think they will give us a very tough game tomorrow. I think they'll give us a very, very tough game tomorrow, but we'll just have too much. And I'm sure Wolves will start getting a winning run and climb away from relegation soon.
And talking about their manager, they've lost 5 games and yet they've just given him a new contract. It's a very odd situation, isn't it? Because if they keep losing games, surely his position is going to have to be considered. So you give him a new contract in the midst of a losing run. Obviously, that's you're giving the manager the backing and saying, we believe in you. Even though you're on this losing run, we believe you can get us away, take us away from it, and we think you're the man for the job. But how long can they allow this to continue before his job is up for a question?
So,
and if it is up for a question in the near future, They've just wasted a load of money by giving him a new contract.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's the weird thing about it, isn't it? All well and good showing your faith in the manager, but giving him a brand new contract when you're bottom of the league and pointless could cost them. Because we've seen it with teams before. If they're in deep relegation struggle before Christmas, they will make changes because being in the Premier League means everything financially to them, and the drop-off is such a big one. So it is a strange thing to do. But like I said, I just can't see Wolves being there by Christmas. I think they'll get things right. But it is a strange thing to put out to the club, isn't it? Saying, our manager's pointless, but here we go, have a brand new contract.
Yeah, very odd, isn't it? And I think... sorry. I think that's a decision. Let's hope it doesn't come back to bite them. Because I do like Wolves. I think they're a good club, but I just thought that was a very odd decision because let's say you lose another 5 games and that's 10 games winless and no points. Are they going to stick with him? And that's a possibility in this league. Or they're going to have to look in another direction. But when you look at their team, it's weird. You're right. They lost Nuri and they lost Cunha. So 2 massive players who are massive kind of players in for them last season in how they stayed up. They relied very heavily on Cunha. They've signed quite a lot of players in the window, but they've been a lot of unproven players. I'm just looking like they signed this striker from the Belgian league. He got 20 goals last season in the Belgian league. He just scored his first goal for Wolves. Akadore, his name is. He just scored his first goal for Wolves in the League Cup in midweek. They got this guy Marshall Manetzi as well, another kind of wide player. They've signed a lot of these kind of players from foreign leagues untested, so it's going to take time for them to gel. Maybe that's what we're seeing at the moment. I think they've got actually quite a lot of players in their squad, and when you're replacing proven quality like Aït-Nouri and Cunha, and with a lot of unproven talent, and you're putting it all together, it might just take a few weeks for you to get things together and get going. And I know it looks bad at the moment, but I see some of their games. They don't look awful, and they don't look like this terrible team. Yeah,
I mean, first of all, the goal they scored against Leeds to take the lead was a wonderful team goal, beautiful play. And the one thing I will say about Wolves and the players they bring in, they have a habit of finding these players. Like your Netos, like your Cunhas, Silvers. Wolves actually have, they were going for Danso, weren't they? They seem to have an eye for a player. But they're in a situation where obviously if they have a couple of good seasons, the big clubs come circling and they lose them. And they do seem to reinvest. But when they do it, they buy en masse, don't they? And it does take time for the players to settle, especially if they are coming from international countries. Then they've got to adapt to the culture. They've got to adapt to or learn the language maybe. So I think, again, it will take a few weeks. You saw the impact this manager had when he first came. So I think you're right. I think it will take a few weeks and then Wolves won't be spoken about the way they are. And, so the Wolves players they've bought, they probably will turn out to be good players with their history of finding players. Yeah,
I think they do have a decent history, but they need people like Strand Larsen to get back to the form he was last season. Hwang Hee-chan on his day. Yep. He's a player who can, obviously, we know what he can do at this level. He's got good finishing ability. I wonder if they've found a solution in midweek, going to a back four against Everton, winning that game. What do you think is in Frank's mind? Because the whole season they've gone back 5. Midweek they play in the EFL Cup and they win 2-0 at home to Everton. And they've gone with a back 4 on that occasion. So do you feel like Frank is going to plan for him to be playing a back 5 or a back 4?
This is a weekly conversation for you and me recently, isn't it? I wouldn't be if they go back 5. Maybe Frank will go back 5. The professor of tactics in Frank.
No, but I'm saying when he's doing his analysis, it's hard to know.
Well, this is the thing. The guy that we saw on the Spurs Weekly, I keep forgetting his name, but he deserves a lot of credit for what he does and the information he gives to Frank. They will be looking at it a lot this week because one of the things we do know under Thomas Frank is they spend a lot of time focusing on what the opponent will do and what their main causes of danger are for opposition, and that will be heavily looked at this week, probably from straight after the Doncaster game, because Frank does say they take it one game at a time. As soon as one game finishes, they have 24 hours to take in whether it's a defeat, a loss, a draw, and then it's on to the next one. So straight after Doncaster, and it goes to show as well, actually, because if they had looked before, they'd have been looking back 5 all season, and now they saw at Everton it was about 4. So there is a lot of work to be done with the analyst, and I have nothing but blind faith that both the analyst and the coaching staff and Frank will pick the right formation and tactics to navigate Wolves.
But as well, is there a case to say, when you're playing a team like Wolves and you know we got the stronger team, we're the better players, is it a case of maybe it doesn't matter what they do, we should be concentrating on ourselves and concentrate how we approach the game, and if we do that, we'll win the game?
I think Thomas Frank and the team probably look at it 50-50. And maybe on certain games they look at it a bit more in favour of us and what we can do. And maybe against a Big Six team, it's like, okay, a little bit more, let's focus on what they do. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to call, isn't it? Because it also, if you look at it, Wolves have become a bit of a bogey team, haven't they? So does that play a bit into it? Like, right, we've got a bad run against these teams. We need to sort this out. Maybe we do need to be a little bit more defensive and wary of what they've done to us in the past. Have to wait and see. This is the great excitement that I'm enjoying right now at Spurs. Like, you just don't know what we're going to do. And
it's another chance for us. It's at home against a team who are going to be sitting a bit deeper. So the onus is going to be on Tottenham to kind of break them down, show their ability to, keep a bit of possession, because we're going to be asked to do that. They're going to give us the possession, I'm assuming, anyway. And they're going to ask us the questions. Can you break us down? 5 at the back, or if they do go 5 at the back, solid defensively. It's going to be difficult for us, and we need to show our ability. This is another good test for Frank, to show his ability to break teams down, have different weapons in the armoury. And I think this is probably going to be one of the, it's in terms of that kind of test, it's another opportunity for us to, I think that's why I'm thinking you play Berger and Simmons together, and this is an opportunity to see how that kind of midfield fares against this kind of opposition. And what we saw against Brighton is once we put those 3 together, there was a lot of synergy. All of a sudden we were much more creative. The movement was a lot sharper. The passing was a lot quicker. And we were able to get in their final third and break them down, or hurt Brighton a lot more. So I'm really excited to see that midfield 3.
Yep.
Simmons in the 10, Bergwijn in the 8, and how that fares against a low block. And what I'm really excited to see, are we going to be much more capable of breaking down a team like Wolves with that kind of midfield, or is it going to lead to different problems? Because Wolves have quite decent midfielders in there. João Gomez, very good midfielder.
That's what I meant, rather than Silva, sorry.
João Gomez, Andre as well. Both Brazilian internationals, very physical, very good in duels, very good at carrying the ball as well. So if we can kind of compete and dominate them in the middle with that midfield, that's going to be a really good sign going forward, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, also, you look at it, just think about it. Yes, he'll look at Wolves and what we can do, but will he also go back at videotapes against Burnley? Because Burnley were obviously very low block, and we managed to navigate our way around that and obviously convincingly won. So maybe he'll use a bit of Wolves, bit of the Burnley game for analysis. But also, you look at it, another thing you mentioned, we've got to mention as well with this lineup, if it is what we think down the left, we saw in the Doncaster game, there seemed to be a bit of an understanding between Simmons and Odegaard when they were on the break, and also having Destiny on the left, a proper left footer with Simmons. So that's another aspect of looking at it. Will that left flank with all the left footers be able to cause some issues? There is so many ingredients to this game: the style of play, the formation, the having the balance on that left hand side, having Paulinho, the defence, everything rested. But Wolves dying to get some points on the board. I think it's going to be a cracking game.
I think, it should be exciting. I think Wolves are no mugs. And if you drop your performance, you're expecting a win in this one, they're the kind of team, especially in the circumstances, they're fighting tooth and nail for every point they can and scrapping for every point. They're definitely in a massive relegation scrap right now. So we can't take this game lightly.
Correct.
We cannot take this game lightly and think it's going to be an easy game, because this Wolves side have quality in there, and they're just trying to get it right at the moment. They've got a lot of new players, they've got a lot of new faces in there, and the managers are trying to fit it all together. But at any point it could click, and at any point they're on the training ground trying to get things right, and they do have enough quality in there. Like, their squad, I think it's better than the likes of Burnley, Brentford, Leeds. I think it's for sure good enough to stay up. So it's about when it's going to start clicking, and that can happen at any moment. And also, you've got to be worried about Dr. Tottenham, because this is the kind of fixture in years gone by where we go into thinking, wow, we're playing a team in awful form. We're guaranteed to get a result. And then if any team in trouble, any team looking for a result, Dr. Tottenham's always been there willing to oblige. So I really hope Dr. Tottenham doesn't rear his ugly head again tomorrow.
Yes, I mean, starting with Dr. Tottenham, you look at this right now, and 5 clean sheets in 7. Very, very unlike us. Not the anti-Dr. Tottenham. Winning games while not playing well. Again, something we were Dr. Tottenham, and that's gone. Yes, this does throw that on board. But also, the things I'm loving right now, people that are saying they want to see more attack, like you were with more attacking football than it happened against Brighton, is right now I am loving the tactical battles that are going on. What's going to happen? What are we going to do? How are we going to go against it? How are we going to approach this game? Are we going to low block or mid block? Are we going to go high line like we did against? And if we're thinking it, Wolves preparing right now against previous managers, Conte, Jose, and Poch even, when they have beaten us before, they know what we're going to do. It's like 4-2-3-1 with Poch. What Mourinho did, obviously 3-4-3 with Conte, 4-3-3 with Ange. It was very, very easy for not just Wolves, but other teams to know, right, this is how you beat Tottenham, this is what they're doing. Right now, can you imagine Wolves right now? They're like, right, we don't know who's going to start. They've rested so many players. We don't know if they're going to play aggressive. We don't know if they're going to sit back and try and soak up on the counter-attack. We don't know if they're going 5-4, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. So how does a team prepare to say, right, if they do this? And I mean, now, I think right now, teams are having to say, right, we need to pay extra attention on Spurs set pieces. Both whether we attack them or Spurs have got them, and how do we approach. So I think at the moment, all teams are about to play Spurs, rather than just saying, right, this is how we beat Spurs, these are the training drills we're going to do. There is so many facets to what they've got to learn about us, that are they paying enough attention on themselves?
Yeah, and that's a good point as well. And I think that's one of the benefits of having a manager like Frank, who's adaptable and he changes how he approaches games based on what the opposition is going to do. And he's very much keyed into the details, and he'll look at the details of what you struggle against, what the opposition don't like, what the opposition do like to do, and he'll adjust his game plan accordingly. And that is going to be that's obviously the massive benefit. The only thing at the moment with that is, now this is the first time he's managed in Europe. Obviously, he's managed in the Championship, which is pretty much 2 games a week, so that's a different level as well. Now he's got Europe, he's got Champions League. He's going to have to come up with these different plans and whatever in a lot more short space of time, and get his methods across without having a whole week, basically, to give to his players. And he addressed that in a press conference. He said, I've played 2 games a week, maybe 100 times in my career. Hasn't maybe been 300 times like other managers, but I'm capable of it. And obviously it's a challenge, but it's something that is not alien to me, and I can, it's something I can do. So, but it's still going to be, at this level, how is it coming across? At the moment, it's doing great. At the moment, he's doing the job perfectly. If we do win the game comfortably tomorrow, again, I think we can learn a lot from that about where we are and about how he's getting his methods into the team. Because against Brighton, I think we did see a lot of improvement with our attacking play, and I do want to see a continuation of that. And I think having the doggy is going to hopefully allow that to happen as well on the left-hand side, getting him to link with whoever's on the left wing and getting to the byline, getting those cutbacks, having that midfield free. I think the dynamics we're starting to see these dynamics, really, these partnerships, these relationships develop on the pitch. And that's really, really exciting to see, I think.
Yeah, this is why as well, whatever the lineup is in previous games, I've not been in the least bit concerned. A lot of people were not understanding or found it strange that Simmons didn't start. And I was like, do you know what? If he comes off the bench and plays in the 10, he could change the game when everyone's, and that's what he did. If we look at these formations that he's played and games we played up against, he's got it absolutely spot on, apart from Bournemouth. So
which he admitted.
Exactly. But if you look at the 7 games, even when he started against Burnley with Paulinho, Bergvall and Sarr, people were like, well, what's going on there? But it may have been a tough first half, but overall he got it right. And I think we do need to carry on with this rotation because, like you said, we are now, he's playing, like you said, Championship football where it's games a week, but this is a lot more high quality. The Champions League, obviously, and everything. And this is all new for Frank. So what he wants to be able to do, in my eyes, is have his strongest 11 available for that game that he's got next. And whatever he does the game before, whatever lineup he comes up with, I'm like, do you know what? He knows what he's doing. He's proven it out of 6 out of the 7 most competitive games. And I'd even say he got it right for 95% of the PSG game. It was just the substitutions right at the end and we couldn't hold on. So wherever he goes and whatever he does, I've got full confidence. And I'm loving the fact that even with a Xavi Simmons on the bench against Brighton, to have that quality to come on and change the game and make an impact, it's wonderful to see that Spurs have genuine players that, you know what, if he comes on, these guys can make a difference. So it's really, really exciting times.
And obviously he's got to pick this lineup as well with Bodo on Tuesday in mind. But I think it does, because I think people like Sarr and Bentancur are probably better for a Bodo away than they are for maybe a Wolves at home. And
100%.
Those players can come in and do a job there. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to the forward line, I mean, Rishi kind of has to play at the moment. People like Kudus probably have to play at the moment. So there's only real one spot. But it's good. I think he's starting to get his first 11 in place here at the moment. And you know, there's still a few places up for grabs. But I think we're starting to get kind of a picture of what his first 11 might start looking like down the line. But at the moment, you know, it's hard. It's exciting to do these predicted lineups because I don't know where he's going to go. And some, you know, we've picked that one, but it could easily be something very different. It could
easily be, but this is the thing. Like we spoke a lot about the midfield. Now there's 5 players for 3 positions. You could say Kevin Danso.
He could easily.
Like if you saw, let's just say he rested Romero tomorrow. I doubt he. In fact, I could guarantee he won't. But if you saw Kevin Danso in the starting lineup and Romero was rested, yes, the skipper's out, but I have no concerns.
You could say you could take Bergvall, put Sarr in.
Exactly.
Take out Paulinho, put Bentancur in.
It's the only
doggy, put Spence in. Like there's a lot of things you could do.
I think the only big one is for creativity, Xavi Simmons.
Yeah.
Because if he's out or out of the squad, as we saw with no Kudus, we needed Porro to be that second creative spark. So I think the only one where the team formation and dynamics actually gets weaker is if Simmons is out of the 10 and we're playing a Bergvall or Sarr there who haven't got the creativity that Xavi Simmons have, but they've shown, played in that position, they have their own qualities to that position.
Absolutely. Well, look, that is your preview for the Wolves game. Kick-off tomorrow at 8 p.m. We have a live watch-along here in the studio here. Me and Josh King, who's in the studio. Lord Pessy himself is going to be here with all the action. So very, very exciting. And that is it. That is it for the stream today. You've had your update, predicted lineup preview for the weekend's game against Wolves. We'll see you tomorrow for the live walk strong, where all the action and drama will be right here in the studio tomorrow from 8 p.m. We've got a pump up before at 6:30 as well, so tune in for that. But looking forward for the action tomorrow, and let's see if we can start putting some pressure on Liverpool tomorrow with a win. Obviously, we're playing after them, so we'll see what their result is. But already looking at top of the league, Brian. We're looking at first. We got a chance to go ahead of Arsenal as well, which is always nice.
Yes.
So let's see you tomorrow for the game against Wolves, 8 p.m. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.